Welcome, welcome again. Good night. Welcome to another episode of Fortress Fitness Lifestyle Podcast. And tonight we have an amazing guest. This night, this guest is a friend of mine. I know her about 2 years plus, right? And she's amazing. She's a good friend of mine's girlfriend. I had to mention his name because it's because of him she's here. Mr. Kurt Patmore, that's the photographer, the only photographer and graphic artist for Fortress Fitness people. So, it's not him, it's his fiance, but I have to mention him because that's my boy, and that's why this guest is here tonight. So, let me bring her down. Miss Maritza Harry. I know I just pronounced this name bad, but you're always there to correct me, right? So I will call her Ritzy. That's always better, right? So Ritzy, introduce yourself. Good night. Welcome. Introduce yourself, and we will do our thing.
Hi, good night again, Victor. Thanks so much for having me here. Good night to your audience as well. My name is Maritza Harry, or Ritzy, as I'm affectionately called. I am a certified nutrition coach, a certified personal trainer, and a certified stretching and flexibility coach. And I've been doing this for the past 3 years and been going strong.
Yes. Well, I know you for 2 years, and what I could say for somebody who in the fitness and health and gym industry myself, what I could say, you are someone that I admire because I know you live the lifestyle, you actually look the part, and you certify yourself, not just for yourself, in order to help others to achieve what you have been achieving for length of time you're doing this. So again, welcome to have you. Let's see, and let's make this fun as usual. I always have amazing guests on this platform, and you actually, based on looking back, you actually the tippy top of those amazing guests, right? Because you're a
Uh,
friend as well, right? So let's start with I have some little questions for you, so I know you can answer, right? So all right, so first of all, Ritzy, can you share what led you to a lifestyle of gluten free?
Right. So this actually started in 2023. I always thought that I used to eat well. I considered myself a healthy eater. I would indulge in Trinity foods. I would eat my Creole food, my routine, this and that, until I was training one day, and then I had a meal, and then I realized, wow, my stomach is not having this. I just realized I got so sick. I wasn't feeling well. I knew instantly it was something was wrong. And I didn't want to panic. I did go to a doctor at first, and then they wanted to go through a whole host of not procedures, but diagnoses and all sorts of random things that I was not about. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it upon myself and I will do an assessment of what's going on. And I realized that it would had a lot to do with my diet. I was eating a lot of wheat, flour foods, a lot, and just constantly eating it. And this was stressing out my guts, and it led to gut issues, digestive issues that just was chronic. So it took me some time to identify what the issue was, but eventually I was able to lock down and figure out it was actually gluten. I developed a sensitivity to it.
Wow, that's
So
amazing. So you self-diagnosed yourself?
I did. It was a long cut, I would say. I think a test would have definitely probably identified the issue sooner, but I'm just I feel like I'm capable of being in charge of my body and understanding what's going on first and foremost before anybody else, even a doctor, even a specialist. So I did that and I came to that conclusion.
You never look back since.
No, and I never looked back since. It's been 2 years. I mean, it's been quite a journey trying to understand this this sensitivity, but it wasn't always that easy. I didn't know what it was at first, so I cut out a whole ton of foods, everything, and I just did like a paleo diet.
Hmm.
So dairy free, gluten. I didn't want before this. I didn't even know what gluten was. I was one of those people who was like, what is gluten? What is this new fad that people are talking about? I thought it was just this made up thing that people would just, that was just the latest buzzword, but I realized it is actually a thing, and I'm here now down the road, so issue with my gut. You know, it's not a lot. I would say about 95%, but still, there are lots of things that I don't know, it's not the beginning, but it's going to be a blessing in disguise because I learned so much about food and what I'm really putting into my body, and it redefined my diet. And now I just wish to share it with so many other people.
That's amazing. But when you went gluten free, I want to ask, what was your biggest in the transition? What was the biggest stumbling blocks that you might have find transitioning from normal eating to gluten free? Because that's everything in Trinidad is like it's gluten.
Yes, I love this question because it was definitely a challenge. I didn't know anything about it. I tell you, I was just testing out different foods that I'm accustomed eating, and I was like, all right, my stomach is accepting this, and when I eat something else, like the next day, it was like, nope. So it like eating. I think a major challenge of mine was knowing was what what foods contain gluten. So there are a lot of foods that hide gluten, like my favorite ice creams, like fried foods. A lot of things contain gluten that a lot of people don't even realize, right? So I it was definitely a challenge for me to navigate through. And it's only when I pop something in my mouth, it'll be like an afterthought. Oh shucks, this
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
this
yeah.
has by then it's too late, So I'm just hoping for the best.
Yeah, I understand. And once you made that transition for a condition that you recognized before, outside of
Yeah,
that condition, did you notice a difference in your health, overall health, like better feeling
absolutely.
and
Absolutely. I didn't realize that's the thing. When you're accustomed to feeling a particular way, you're not, you don't know better until you feel differently. So when I
yeah,
cut out
yeah.
gluten, or for everybody who doesn't know, I just want to delve or define what gluten is because people might be listening and be like, what is gluten? Gluten. Yeah. So gluten is a protein that's actually found in wheat. So that could be in your bread, pasta, cereals, pizza, even your ice creams, your snacks, your processed snacks, bare battered foods, your beer. There are so many things that contain gluten and we don't even realize it. So that's um, that is a part of it. Understanding what's in gluten, what foods contain gluten.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I lost track of what I stuck a pin in it and I forgot when I was defining gluten, which you had asked me.
No, no,
Um,
no. I'm saying what I said, what I asked, which I think you answered, was
right,
the apart from the condition, like your overall health and feeling. Did you notice a
right.
difference? Yeah.
Yes. Back to that, I felt much more energized. My gut health definitely improved. I would say I felt that brain fog, that constipation, a whole host of issues was lifted. I was like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to be feeling. Like I'm supposed to feel good every day. I didn't realize that eating so much floury foods. We all know like flour, it packs on here, and we feel a little tired after we eat it after lunch, but we don't realize how much we're ingesting and the impact that
Yeah.
it's having. So, and it's got a whole host of other benefits as well. I would
Yeah.
say because I'm trying to avoid, yeah, because I'm trying to avoid gluten, it's changed my direction in what I eat. So I tend to eat more whole foods to replace that refined
Understood.
that refined carbohydrate. Yeah.
Understood.
So
And since yes, I understand clearly and you answered the question perfectly. And another thing I want to ask is that, what people hear, like you're talking to friends and whatever, but when I gluten free or whatever, people ask another question, what are some of the myths, or misconception that people have for somebody who live in a gluten free life? What are the kind of misconception people just feel, well, they kind not know is it bush alone or is it eat seeds or I don't
yes,
know.
I'm becoming a gluten free or going on a gluten free diet, I had to face a lot of those questions myself, even my family, even Kate, my boyfriend is like, what is this? What is gluten? A lot of people think that gluten has a lot to do with a vegan diet. First of all, they're two separate things. So when I say I'm gluten free, it doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm vegan. I still eat meats, but not being gluten free and being, there's vegan, there's being dairy free. So there are different um, compartments of diets, right? So for me,
Yeah.
I choose to not eat gluten as well as dairy. But
Okay.
as today is gluten, yeah, so that is a misconception. One. Two, people think that because you are not eating flour, you can't enjoy certain foods anymore, like cereal, you can't enjoy roti, you can't enjoy pasta, you can't enjoy bread, cakes, cookies, pastries. But I have learned how to, find alternatives for it that are more wholesome, nutritious, enjoyable without that gut issue, without any issue, So
Yeah.
that is a major misconception. My dad actually thinks that I, he told me a time, he was like, all these beats and Ritz is nuts and seeds. I'll put a rope over you and put you in the freezer with hours. Like, no, I
Yeah.
eat, I eat food. I just eat more of a particular type. So tend to eat more nuts, fruits, seeds, legumes, right? As opposed to you eat flour, right? So um, that is another major misconception. Another misconception is that people think that sensitivity gluten it's only for people who has celiac disease, which is a genetic predisposition where you are just naturally born having a sensitivity to gluten, right? So these people have um, extreme, what's the word, effects. It has extreme effects on them, so they can't tolerate any kind of gluten whatsoever. But there's a
Okay.
spectrum. Okay. Yeah, there's a spectrum. So people like me who probably, they would feel discomfort in their tummy from time to time when they consume it. To people who have more moderate, um, you know, more moderate effects. To people who just absolutely go haywire when they have even a bit of it or smell it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
those are some major misconceptions, but I have learned that there's some truth to them. They're myths. Like you just have to do your
Yeah.
research.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And yeah, yeah.
I can
So I hope
imagine.
that's
So,
yeah.
yeah, sorry. What I know you prepare healthy snacks. I mean, and I happen to taste one or two, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there before
Yeah.
this interview is over. But walk us through for it. Say, what is a typical day for you when coming to meal, like breakfast, lunch, and give us a short no run through of how your one day is look like gluten free.
Okay, that's right. So on a morning, I wake up. I have my glass of water first of all because you should hydrate everybody first thing in the morning. Afterwards, I have my favorites breakfast is either I make like a quinoa loaded quinoa breakfast. So it's quinoa, I put granola in there, some sliced banana, honey. I make my own almond butter, so I put that in there too for protein. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorites. But that's one of the many options, gluten-free breakfast options that I create. And there, I have a lot of recipes in my templates, which is available on my website, right? That's available for download. There are tons of beautiful gluten-free breakfast recipes. Then for lunch, right, I space my meals. So lunchtime, I will have regular. I'm training, okay? I can't cut out all my training food, but I do have my typical Creole food. I will
Yeah,
have some rice, or provision, sweet potatoes, plantain, fig. I love those, right? I tend not to eat rice every day, but once in a blue moon, right? So tend to be provision. I will have my roast fish. I love fried plantain and everything, so I put that in everything, right? Um, and maybe a side of beans or calorie, right? That's a totally gluten-free, dairy-free option as well. There's meat in there, but obviously you can. It's up to your liking, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just, yes, I add the meat for my protein, and then for dinner, dinner is always. I tend to keep my dinner light, so I will do. I'll try to include a salad in my dinner, lighter a lighter carb like quinoa and a side of meat again. So there are different options. There's so many things you could play around with. I make like a nice green pepper, loaded green peppers, like a slice of green pepper in half. I put some quinoa in there, and I make my own cheese. Um, my own dairy free cheese. I put it in there. You could put anything on black beans. It's just up to you and your creative mind. Like I've learned so much how to create so many amazing things. And of course, you do feel peckish sometimes throughout the day. So I do have my snacks, right? You can make, I make black bean brownies, totally flour free, free of any kind of flour, not even gluten free flours, right? So the idea is unprocessed snacks, which you cannot really find in grocery stores or anything like that. So that is a typical day of what I
Full.
eat. Yeah,
Oh, one day. And why is that is
yeah,
so rich? Yeah, that song, and that is fine because and we cook your stuff and you prepare some nice dishes, gluten free and healthy. I know. How about now
yeah.
when you go out to a restaurant? What's the challenges that you face? Because I know
Um,
Trinidad restaurants how they are, so I know you'll have some stories. And I know you face some challenges. So give me one or
yeah.
two challenges that will face.
Oh my
You will face
gosh.
based on that lifestyle.
Yeah,
Because I
I
went to
love
that
that
restaurant,
question.
everything nine out of ten, everything had gluten in it. So
Exactly.
that had to
I
be a
love.
challenge.
Yes. So again, you can do your homework because knowledge is power. Before you choose a restaurant, just call them in advance or look up at their menu online, see what what is in their ingredients, what is in their menu, and be like, okay, I could probably have this. This one have gluten, but remember I said that there are things that contain hidden gluten in it. So that could be like your ice creams because they use gluten as a thickener in ice cream. So you have to be careful with desserts. Yeah, there is beer because malt, malt is derived from barley, and barley has gluten in it, right? So even
Okay.
beers and beer-battered foods can contain gluten. The soy sauces, your Chestershire sauce, I think so. Um, so many sauces, gravies. I know in restaurants they use a lot of gluten to, well, wheat. I say gluten, I mean wheat. To thicken up soups, to thicken up gravies. So it's just up to your discretion to ask the waitress, hey, can you double check and see if there's such and such in this, right? Even, this isn't gluten free, but like even with coconut milk actually contains dairy in it as well.
Yeah.
There's this protein called casein, which is contained in it, so you have to be careful. But you just have to be aware, you just have to equip yourself with knowledge. Um, when you are buying, this isn't related to the grocery, to the restaurant, but the grocery, when you are looking at your packaging, right? You have to know what wheat is called, what's subliminal names, secret different names, because they code gluten in different ways. So they'll have wheat flour, wheat bran, wheat germ. There's something called triticale, which is like a hybrid between rye and wheat. There's so many destructive ways that they put wheat and everything. Even when you go in your restaurant, you notice that the first thing that they give you is bread. And there's a reason for that. Because bread makes you want to eat more. It just opens up. Yeah, yeah, and
It's
it's
filling
hard to
up then.
resist. Yeah, it just comes smelling so nice and fragrant, and you're just like, well, like even the other day we went to Crave restaurant, and I had to be like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
That's because I'm gluten free doesn't mean it's not difficult to not eat it. It's still
No, I
difficult. Like
understand.
it's yeah, but it's just a choice. You just have to know yourself and what you what you stand for and
Yeah, I
what you
understand. I understand perfectly clear, and you know that I understand. And also,
yeah
I'd ask this question, right? Because
yeah
when people like friends might know you, or they say, let's see, come let's go so a social, a private event, and they didn't think at the
yeah
time, and so your social
yeah
life, you know,
yeah
and you go out by event, not a restaurant, a event, where you invite a
yeah
house line or something like that. And when you go there, it's like you're not able to
yeah
read because everything just there,
yeah
you know.
yeah, I love that.
So you
It's so true.
just don't eat
Yeah
anything, or
yeah
I know that
yeah
it's
exactly.
challenging for me too. I know it's been
I've never
challenging.
seen you like once or twice we invited us to a function. I was like, how is this possible? But um, yeah, when you do go out to an event, definitely there will be temptation with the delicious pies and pastries that just laid out, scrolled out in this nice way. But you just have to have discipline and you
Yeah,
just have to you have to know yourself and to put things in place.
I
If you
understand.
bring your own snack or something. When I went to a seminar, this was in the earlies when I first made my own diagnosis. Um, I They provided lovely snack boxes for everybody, and I there was the first time I could not. It was the first time it really hit me like, yeah, wow, this is really a change. Like, I can't just pick up this box and just open it and eat it. You know, everything. It's so mindful of what I'm eating now. Before it just used to be a mindless thing. Ooh, this looks good. This smells good. This sausage roll. But even sausage, they put thickeners, gluten, there's a thickener stabilizer in it. So all that, it's not just the shell of the pastry. It was the first time I had to like work on my own. I walked with my own lunch to this event, and I think that's when it really cemented for me, like, wow, like this is not like I don't know, I feel like I crossed a different level, like bringing like pre-planning a snack and bringing it to an event. That was just I feel like I crossed a milestone somehow in this lifestyle.
So,
But yeah,
so mostly you will say that you prepare most of your lunch and stuff. You mostly do that,
yeah,
right?
I do mostly breakfast, my snacks especially. But like I said, with lunch, because I still consider certain Trini foods to be good. Like, your plantain, your figs. Like, I will deal with some proper, you know, like fried plants and those things. But I tend to when I do make food, it tends to be for dinner, breakfast, or snacks. But most of the time, I can't lie. I don't have time to make lunch, but when I do, it is healthy. It is healthy, gluten free as well.
Yeah. If if there's one if one magical food that I shouldn't say magical. If there's one food that have gluten in it that you get an opportunity to eat that you miss, what would it be? Just for one meal, just to break your just a day of cheating and a meal that you missed before you went gluten. What would it be?
Pasta. Because that was the meal I had when I had that issue. Like, it was like somebody pressed a switch, and my gut was just like, nope. It just was not the same after that. So that meal, I think in my mind, I'm like, I will never touch that. I think it's a mental thing too. I'm like, if I eat pasta,
Mhm.
that's what happens again. So I do miss a beautiful creamy, yeah, pasta. But like I said, there's so many nice options. There's gluten-free pastas, but I don't eat it with cheese and dairy. So it does taste different with your cashew cheese, which I make, or different coconut cheeses. But I miss just eating it without worrying.
Yeah, yeah. I know you have some good knowledge on which we had to touch up on wheat, right?
Yeah,
what is the good and bad, or what wheat does to your body? So give us a
right,
breakdown on wheat, because I think there's a lot of
right.
misconception on wheat based on the general population. So on
Yeah.
your journey being going gluten free, what is some of the advantage, disadvantage, or what wheat do to your body, good or bad? Give us what you have uncovered.
Whew, where do I start? So, in my research, even before I get to the impacts, right? Um, I learning of the history of wheat has opened my eyes so much. So, wheat actually, or the hybridization of wheat, because what we eat as wheat in the modern day is completely different to what our ancestors ate
Hmm.
2,000, 8,000 years ago. It's two completely different things. So, I would say the story really began in the 1950s, post World War II, when they had this abundance of, they created all this technology and all these chemicals. And post World War II, they didn't know what to do with all these chemicals afterwards. So they gave it over to different industries. For example, fluoride, they were like, I don't know what to do with all this fluoride, so they gave it over to who? The dental industry. It's in what's all of our toothpaste, right? It's in our tap water. The next chemical is like our nitrogen. They were like, I don't know what to do with all this, so they dumped it in wheat fields, and that's where it started, right? Dumping it
Oh,
in these wheat fields is where they realized, wow, the wheat is actually growing really abundantly. The yield is really going well. And but there was a double-edged sword, because in growing the wheat and dumping all the nitrogen, they realized it grew, the head of the wheat grew so big that it can support itself and it would tilt over. And this made it more difficult for the wheat to
okay,
be harvested. Yeah, right? So World War II, so again, to solve that problem of the tilted head of the wheat, they decided to crossbreed the wheat with Japanese goatweed, which is a grass. And in crossbreeding the plants, they created a nice plant, but it was a lot shorter, which they wanted, right? But also the canopy of this new breed of wheat, the canopy of it was less leafier. And that did what? It caused it to be more vulnerable or exposed to pests and insects. Because for two reasons, the less leafy canopy, um, a canopy would kind of shield it, protect it from pests and insects, as well as because they crossbred it with this Japanese goatweed. It was also shorter. It went from 6 feet to being about 2 feet tall. So that meant that it was closer to the ground. And pests and
okay,
insects that normally reach it, they could pass it. So again, they had to fix it. So what they did, they had to add pesticides for the rodents. They had to add insecticides for the roaches and the other insects, and herbicides for the weeds. So that's where this abundance of pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides just entered our food system and inevitably into our bodies, right? So that's crossbreeding of the wheat was how all of this change and this deterioration in health in humans started. Like not started, but got worse post 1950s, right? That to me is the beginning of nutritional disease, right? Um, but so, in addition to that, the wheat of today, they put so many things in it. I don't even know where to start. I could pull out 8 chemicals right now that they put in it that are absolutely toxic to human beings and should not be consumed. The first one being potassium bromate, right? That is carcinogenic. Then you have something really fancy called azodicarbonamide. That is where Subway got its flack from. Back in the days, like in the early 2000s, they got a lot of heat, a lot of backlash because people realized that they were putting this chemical into people's foods, and it was again causing issues.
wow,
It's yeah, and tons of other things. There's the partially hydrogenated oils, which creates which transforms into trans fats, and that is an endocrine disruptor. It is a gut disruptor. Um, like it's these things they put it in there for different reasons. So like the potassium bromate, the azo dicarbonamide, they put it in to make the dough more spongy, to improve the texture of the dough and the strength of the dough. The partially hydrogenated oil that was to extend the life of shelf life of the breads and the wheat. So like when you see people putting they bought like a McDonald's 20 years ago and they open it back up the packaging and it looks exactly the
Yeah.
same.
Mhm.
That's because of this partially hydrogenated oil, right? It reduces oxidation of the product. The product will look a little dehydrated, but exactly the same as 20 years ago. So that alone should tell you how unhealthy, these breads are, right? There's also caramel coloring. They put that inside of the food just to make it look more appealing because when during the milling process they strip the meats from so many healthy nutrients which gave it its color that they had to put something fake in because they call it caramel. It sounds nice. But caramel, our caramel, what we have in our head, that is not what they put into the breads. Again, a man-made synthetic chemical that can cause a range of issues, digestive and endocrine issues, right? When I say endocrine, I mean like your hormones and stuff. Um, there's also um, big one, high fructose corn syrup, which I'm sure you've heard of too, right? That is extremely unhealthy for you. That causes diabetes, obesity, ADHD in children. Like there's so many issues. They add the corn syrup, which is not actually made from corn, again, synthetic and genetically modified. That's another topic. But they add that to start, add a little sweetness because people love sugar. It's addictive. So one slice of bread could contain so much corn syrup, and that affects your brain and so many other things. And the last, gluten in itself is a chemical, I would say, because it's not natural, right? We've tampered with it as man. We've tampered with it so much. We add, and then we add a cocktail of pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides to it that it's no longer natural, right? We've crossbred it with something that would have never crossbred in future, right? So to me, anything that's not God made, it's man made and it's not natural or good for you. So to me, wheat, modern day wheat, is just a chemical in itself and has its own range of negative effects. And
Hmm.
there's also something called the Maillard reaction process, which is when bread is the gluten is broken down, it produces carcinogenic esters, which again, it makes the bread when you pass by a bakery and you smell it, and it's also nice, and makes you want to buy some bread. That is that is the carcinogenic on this underlying. Those are esters that are just being released to release a nice fragrance, but it's not good for you. Those things, those are just eight that just come to mind, right? Pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides being the eighth one. Those things alone, you should just want to avoid bread because when you're eating it, it's not like your body's going to separate the chemicals
Yeah.
from good stuff. Everything your body is absorbing. So you just have to be mindful and decide for yourself. Yes, I want my body to. My thing is when I eat something, I always ask myself, is it cleansing me or is it clogging me? Right? And I know when I eat bread and wheat, so I should say wheat and pastas and pies and cakes, I know that's clogging my system. It's creating inflammation, right? So the thing about gluten is people who are sensitive to it, it doesn't necessarily present as gut issues. It could present as so many other things. It could be arthritis, it could even be anxiety, mental things. It could be a whole host of issues that it can cause. It's not necessarily a gut issue. So I just want people to understand that just because you're eating it does not mean that your body likes it. Your body probably has a buffer to it. But if you keep overeating it, and then there's usually a trigger if it's something, something stressful, or something to just switch on that genetic that genetic switch on that allergy to it. It can turn on, right? And especially as you get older, your body is not going to work as fast as it normally does. It's not going to recover as fast as it normally does. So it's important to just be mindful. Talking a
Yeah,
lot,
well,
but
yeah, that's
definitely.
a lot, and it's so I want to say sad because when you see the advertised healthy meals out there, it's see, like bread and thing. Well, it always wheat bread, and it's like a misconception and misdirection to the people because what advertising for healthy bread in this world and in this country as I and you know, for people who don't know like yourself or do those kind of research, because most people wouldn't do that kind of research because you are in the field that you are in and you should know, and you did that research, you could say what you say in there, and the people listening could say, you know what, they didn't know. Because what I found on this journey that I'm on right now since I started this, we are suffering from lack of information in this country, and that's why a lot of people are sick because the places they're going to get healthy is actually the same place that getting them sick, and they're not researching and they're not doing what you're doing there. So that's why when people say, "Oh gosh," which I bounce up and all, flour is like, "Oh gosh, what else I go eat if I eating flour?" You know that everything has flour in it. Like you talk about pasta there, right? A lot of people love pasta because there's so much way you could create pasta. And I saw actually they have whole wheat pasta, and based on what you're saying there, that is no different. That is no different to the white bread because actually it could be worse with all those chemicals that have in that wheat is not doing no
Yes.
justice to your body. And after a period of time, as you rightfully said, your body will be not able to do the filtering as it should. And I mean, that information is really, really fascinating and is welcome actually in this modern world with so much different foods and information out there. You don't know what is real from what is not real, what is truth from what is not truth. Because the biggest billboard had the most unhealthy option on it, right? That's what I've realized. You
Yes. Oh
know?
my gosh. You talk about billboards, and I noticed that you only see ads for fast food. A Chick-fil-A sandwich, a chicken.
Yeah.
Like you never see an ad for like a farm with like whole foods. Eat some avocados. Eat.
No,
Oh, you don't.
you don't see that. You don't see
It's
that.
terrible.
It's
So
terrible.
they, yeah. So there's a narrative like, you know, I don't want to say which government or whatever, but they, on one hand, they try to make it seem like they want to help the health of the world, so the nation, of everyone. But on the other hand, what they're displaying, it's two totally different things. It's not, the voices are not the same.
No, it's
Yeah, it's not. He talked about the misconception of what's what is posed as healthy, and I have fallen into that trap because you just people who are trying to do better for themselves. There are people who don't know better, and there are people who don't know, but they're trying to be more conscious about what
yes,
they're eating,
yes, yes.
posing posing foods as healthy. Um, when it's not, because sometimes I look at an ad and I'm like, oh my God, how is this? How, like, some certain words for things should be banned. Like they put nice words for you. They will put
Yes,
fortified with this, and they don't realize when they say fortified with, it means that the original nutrients of it was stripped away, and then they put this synthetic, you know, version of it, this this imitation version of it, which could never be as good as the original thing. So
correct.
it's so it's certain nice buzzwords they will put. It's healthy breakfast. Nothing about certain. I don't want to call the words, but I don't want to loud up any, but certain brands, yeah, it's terrifying seeing what is posed as healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different version of healthy because you have some people out there who don't eat meat but eat gluten. There are people who just don't eat grains on a whole.
Yes.
There are versions of healthy. So I guess it's up to, if once you have all the information, you could then decide, okay, this is healthy for me again, because what's healthy for me may not be, you know,
May not be,
my,
yeah,
yeah. So
but there's things that, I think we all know that is unhealthy for us. But I think it's really bad habits. And because of bad habits for a long period of time, I think most people are either unwilling to try to even change a habit because of what they get familiar with or what they're accustomed to, especially with things like flour. I think I found that to be the hardest thing for people to give up on my journey, talking to them. I think flour is the number one thing that people are not willing to even try to give up. They could stop eating meat for a period of time, they could cut down on
yeah,
the sweets or whatever. But I think, I
yeah,
don't know if it's cultural on all sides. And when you check most of the fast food outlets, there's flour somewhere in it, you know, and fry, flour and fry is our go-to each and every day, and it's not adding value to our health. It's more taking away long-term health and
yeah,
wellness to ourselves, right? And the mere fact that you're gluten-free, and I know it's a gym as well, let's see, and when you go, because I know eating a particular way sometimes your energy could dip.
yeah.
Have days sometimes they feel like, and for somebody who's gymming and doing all you're doing, do you find days that it may not be often that you feel a little dip in your energy based on you know your meal for this day may not be as um, filling as it should, or no, that kind of thing, no. And I know you have a healthy snack that probably will put some energy back in it, which you want to talk about because once you talk about meals, what I found even for myself and a lot of people a few people who try in the healthy option is that healthy snack is not easy come about in this country, especially the sweet on the sweeter side or even the
Yeah,
saltier side because it's most of the supermarkets or those shops and them like selling little snacks and thing is not gluten free and is not healthy. I only know about probably two places, one in Westmore actually that has gluten free, which is I think, well, I will mention the name here. I think it's Sweet Beat, right?
okay.
That I know that have healthy snacks. But I know you also, have a recipe. Um, is it a book or a journal? Which one?
It's a ebook. So I do have a book. It's an ebook, a high protein snacks recipe book. Because as you highlighted just now, it is so difficult to get nice, healthy, nutritious, gluten free snacks in the grocery or wherever you go. The options are very limited. For me, on days where I don't get to make my snacks, I might probably buy like a bag of popcorn or something. But my gluten-free snack book, it's amazing. Like these are tried and tested recipes that I've tried over the past 2 years, and I'll put my Trini twist to it because obviously I'm not a chef, but just seeing all these beautiful recipes online, I take them and I do my different spins on them and I add it to my taste. So all of these recipes are all very solid. I have recipes for brownies, I have recipes for eating pizza, I have recipes for ice cream. All of these are delicious. They're refined, sugar free, they're gluten free, and dairy free. If you wanna again add your meat to like a pizza, for example, you're free to do that. But I all these recipes are high protein because as a gym goer, you have to get your protein in. So I make sure and curated each recipe to be high protein so that you don't feel like you're wasting a meal. Because as a drummer, you just want to feel as though every meal has to hit that protein mark. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, it's available on my website. it's it's for sale, so you're free to audience free to check it out. I also have a free PDF on a gluten free guide as well for those who don't know about the gluten free journey and want to learn more about it. There's a free download as well. Um, when you mention the cutting out flour, I feel like cutting out flour is like toe to toe with when you tell people to cut out flour. Yeah, you get the crazy look one, but I feel like people who don't eat dairy too, those people are toe to toe. Like you can't people tell people to cut out dairy or flour. Those two, they toe to toe. And like yeah, people who could cut out sugar, they will cut out the sugar, they will cut out, you know, oil, like oily foods and stuff. But yeah, flour, nah, I need
That's
my
always
pasta.
the and let's all right.
Yeah.
So let's just to have it so the viewers and the people can know. I know you say you have the ebook out there is on your website. Where can we? What is your website, or where can we find?
So my website is my name, my full name, Maritza Harry.com, right? And also wanted to mention, as part of my gluten-free journey, it's super important for me to be able to track everything that I eat because I write down everything that I eat because it helps me realize, okay, I didn't eat that well today. I didn't eat that much protein today. It's a very good. I watch it every single day religiously after every meal. I put it in my fitness journal, right? So I also have this journal available. Whoever wants to get one, they can also find it on my website, right?
Yes,
It's got everything. You can plug in your weights, your reps, everything, everything. It has your nutrition tracker and your activity tracker. So definitely, I would say this is part critical for my nutrition journey. Right?
yes, and
Yes,
right. So they can go on your page, your social media handles. You will mention it, so they can go on the
yes,
page and they will see your website on your Instagram page and all of that. You
yes.
have it there.
So, yes. So you can find all my social media handles. All of them are the same name, Maritza Hari. Fitness on Facebook, and Maritza Hari on both TikTok and Instagram.
All right. So all the viewers can see, you can find her on all the social media platform. Go download that book, and I would say this, and you well, first person that I met that doing those things and actually look the part. So there's no misconception. There's nobody to say, well, well, she making these nice things, and actually she not looking the part. And actually, I went TIC Thursday,
Okay.
and I met someone who claimed they're making healthy meals, or making healthy meals, I should say. But just as most people like that I meet, the meal's probably healthy, I guess, or tastes good, but they're not looking the part. Yeah. So for
Yeah.
me personally, I believe, this is just me, Vic, believe that whatever someone is doing, whether it's a trainer or in your case, gluten-free and eating healthy, should look a certain way in order to help let people know it's achievable by eating this way. And also going gluten free, you look awesome and you're gymming. And so it's not like, oh gosh, how she make it? I eat my roti and my this and my that and my dumpling, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No. So you're balancing that pretty well, and I must say, and you know, that link of your ebook and all of that, we
Yes.
had to find a way to link it on Fortress page somewhere. We had to find a link that so people
Yes.
can purchase it, right? So
Yeah.
everybody, all my friends who watch it, who always watch, all my co-workers, everybody who always saying, Vic, where is it? Don't forget what I said. Marissa had the answer for you all. All who want to get the midsection done. So that person has asked all the time. All these ladies, I have a friend of mine told me when they saw the ad, they say, you know what? I want a stomach like that, Vic. I said, well, I have a number. I can give you her number, and you could buy meals from her because she eats a particular way, and she's very
Yes.
disciplined, and she's German. So I said, if you want a body, call Rista. Rista will link you up. So, Miss, you're
Yeah.
doing an awesome job, and I mean, any way that Fortress can help, I can help you, a friend, and I like to see young people really commit to something, and I know you are committed, because I've seen you out of this forum like now many times, and doing your thing, and you are committed in the sense of not just gym, but especially in Trinidad, it's challenging to be gluten free or even not to eat flour and other stuff. And you have been managing and doing pretty well with that. And as I said, it's challenging to when you have friends who is not like that, or maybe a boyfriend or a fiance who is everything inside. I just say it there. I pointed fingers, you know, because I bounce up the same problem in the sense of, you go out climbing with friends or whatever, and or a restaurant, just pop up at a restaurant and it's like your turn to order and it's like, the fun stuff is not in my corner, and I know you know about that. So
Yeah,
so the um I'm glad that you brought in an ebook. I mean, I think that's an
yeah,
excellent idea. I'm glad that you have, the journal is awesome as well. I think everybody who looking to change their life to a more healthier lifestyle and gym supposed to have a journal.
yeah,
I have a journal book where I call it a journal, but it's a little notebook where I write down certain things, to just maintain what I want, with my carbs and my protein and things like that. When last I had carbs and then because I carb cycle. So that journaling together, what you're doing, I think is go hand in hand. So people can listen, the journal, Mr. had the journal, she has the ebook online, check her out on all the platform and purchase it before the season start because just now the rush for carnival, everybody with the carnival body, and something I always say with is that you had the carnival body way before carnival, way after carnival. You know what I mean? So for the people who want that, all these women who want that, and nearly every woman in the gym wants a carnival body, especially with the midsection. Let's see how the answer because carnival go, carnival come, Christmas go, Christmas come. Your see stomach flat, right? And that's based on not gymming. That's based on what you
right,
eat, what you prepare, and all the recipes are actually in that ebook. So get it out there. Yeah,
for
right?
sure. Yes,
So is there anything
yes.
you want to say before we
Yeah,
close? You have
yeah,
time.
yeah.
You have
I
time.
like. Yeah, you said that. You talk about carnival, and for me, it's not a seasonal thing. It is year round, and cutting off flour, it's not an easy thing. So what I would say for people who want to cut off flour, don't just go cold turkey and just try to do it. Just cut off everything. It will not end well. Even if you want to start off, if you're accustomed having 4 slices of bread a day, cut it down to two. And that small change, incremental change, is what's going to last. The fast, quick fixes or the crash diets and cutting out things instantly, that is not going to work. Yeah, so abs are made in the kitchen for sure. I like how you abs are made in the kitchen, and they're growing in the gym. So both go hand in hand. Focus on your nutrition, guys, and you definitely will see a difference. Be more mindful of what you're eating. Your body is a temple. You don't want to put, like how I put it, your body is a penthouse, and you don't want to fill it with pop down furniture. You want to put in the best of the best into your body because that's what you deserve and that's what your body deserves. So, Vic, I just wanted to thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I really enjoyed the conversation. Um, I want to thank your listeners as well. I think that you're doing a great job, Vic, in spreading the word and creating this beautiful fitness community, bringing knowledge to people. And this is a message for people who are not sure about their nutrition and health goals. And, they're probably not even conscious of that they need this, but this is bringing it, the space is bringing it out there. And, it's only going to grow and get better. So I thank you so much, Vic, and I really appreciate it.
Well, that those nice words, you soften me up there, right? And I just want to say, thank you for making the time to come on the podcast and share your amazing experience gluten free. And I know it's well received. based on the questions that's been asked out there. And as I said before, you is someone, and Cooks, is people that I met over a year and something, and you stand out, in the crowd. And I just, as a female as well, you all rounded based on what I know. And I just want to say that someone, a younger woman could look at and say, you know what, I want to be like her because of how balanced you are all around. And most women that I know, most people, and I've been around in the fitness world a while, most people, who want to start the fitness journey, it's easier to even start it just in the gym. But when coming to the nutrition part, it is usually be the most challenging part, as you rightfully said, because that's where the discipline and the mindset of seeing what you want and know you want to achieve and actually putting in the work in the kitchen, not in the gym, in the kitchen, to get the body that you want, and not only for aesthetics, but knowing to yourself that you'll be healthier, right? Because once I talk about the aesthetics of yourself, you started this conversation based on a condition that drove you in that corner, which you really benefit now. And again, I would say a couple of people came on this platform who doing certain things, and I recognize it with yourself as well, which you have a why you started this thing, and your why is very personal, and you're passionate about it. So people with a why they do something, that driving force is not temporary, and it can't be just put out like that, because there's a fire inside people like you and others who have a why they make certain steps or lifestyle change, whether it be health, whether it be gym, whether it be business, whatever it is. A why is what gets you off from the comfort zone into a realm of jumping and taking a chance on yourself and making a change and going back, which is what you're doing. You're going back to help others by creating that ebook. And on a social media platform, I see you talking and explaining to people how to get a flat stomach, how to really live healthy. And that by itself is admirable. And I just want to say that, go ahead, continue to do what you're doing. Fly that flag pretty high. And when you feel people are watching, and the younger generation, I know you're young, but the younger generation would look at you, and they probably looking at you and say, you know what, I want to be like this woman, because she's a role model that I will want to eliminate, because most of us do have positive role model. We can look and say, you know what, I want to be like her, I want to be like him, and not just aesthetics, but how we live our life, you know. So that, and I know you, so I know you have that balance. So I just want to say thanks, Marissa, for coming. Thanks for making the time. We'll continue to push that book, right? And we want to get that book, Fortress growing. We want to get that book printed. We want to get that book printed too, because it's
Okay.
important, right? And
Yes.
it's possible, right? It's possible. We'll talk about that some other time. So thanks again, Maris. Have a blessed night. It was a pleasure. Say hi for me, and we will see you soon again. And may God
Sure.
bless you, your family. Stay safe, and we'll catch up again. Have a blessed night.
Thanks. Same to you, Vic. Have a good night.
All right. Yeah. Right. So that was an excited interview with Marissa, and she's again, as I said, amazing friend and fitness person that really changing the way of how you eat, and gluten-free meals and snack, that you can live, enjoy life, but you can live a healthy, enjoyable life with gluten-free. And her page have all the information to get her ebooks. So check her out online and purchase the book. It's very, very knowledgeable, and you can stay away from those kind of things that will only add sickness to you down the road. Right? So have a good night, people. May God bless. And tune in next week for another episode of Fortress Fitness Lifestyle Podcast. Take care, and God bless.